Sorry, I just had to do that. Anyways, today I'm gonna talk about all the horror movies that a lot of people like that I don't like. Now let me get started. Now the first one will be, oh man, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one. So the first one will be Black Christmas, the original, 1974, I believe. Now, I don't entirely hate this movie. I just think I just couldn't get into it, and a lot of people like this movie, which I highly respect. Not hating. I just couldn't get into it. I thought it was kind of slow, kind of boring. There were some creepy moments that I liked, but this movie didn't contain any like carnage at all. No blood, no gore. Which is, for a movie that's from the 70s, I get a bit past. Aside from that, I thought it was fine. I don't hate this movie. There's actually a lot of movies on this list that I don't entirely hate. I just don't really like it as much as other people do, and either that or just not my, glass of water. I just couldn't get into this one. So the next one is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now, I don't know what the fuck happened. Because the original was, really terrifying, disturbing. And this one went a completely different direction. A completely weird direction. It's like extremely campy. It doesn't even feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie at all. Or even like a direct sequel to the original movie. And I don't know what the fuck they were thinking going towards that weird direction, but yeah, because of that, I didn't like it. But for some reason, a lot of people do like it. I don't know why. And this comes from me, for someone who's like, campy humor a lot of times in horror movies. But when it comes to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there shouldn't be no camp at all. I wouldn't even go as far as saying like I like the Next Generation better than this one, because at least, even though the movie has a lot of flaws, this movie, that movie at least feels like leans towards more the original movie than that one. So anyways, yeah, there's that. I didn't really like this movie. There were some things I did like, This movie does contain some good carnage and kills and gore. But I just didn't like the campiness of this movie. I didn't get into it. I didn't thought it was that funny. It just felt like an R-rated, like, Disney horror movie, in my opinion. Anyways, next one will be The Exorcist 3. Yeah, I know a lot of people like this one, and I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest with you. There is a lot of things I like about this movie. Like, I did like you know, the investigation, and I definitely like Brad Dourif's performance in the movie. In fact, he actually steals this movie. Honestly, if it wasn't for him, I probably would, probably not like this movie at all. This movie doesn't even contain any like good carnage, even though this movie is about like a serial killer, and there's some like scary moments to the movie. Aside from that, like I just thought the movie was kind of boring, to be honest with you. And yeah, there's nothing really else for me to say about this movie. Anyways, next one will be Signs from 2002, I believe. Yeah, I couldn't get into this one either. I'm not too big on like what is it like? The movies about aliens. I didn't thought it was. I didn't thought it was that scary. Matter of fact, I didn't thought it was scary at all. But a lot of people seemed to really like it and thought it was really scary, especially at that time. Um, yeah, I just not so big on aliens movies. Next is Santa Slay, a, a comedy Christmas slasher film from 2005. A lot of people seem to really like this one, but I couldn't get into it. I didn't thought the jokes or the humor in this movie was that funny. Um, this movie didn't deliver any good kills, in my opinion. Like, I mean, there's some good ones, but it was mostly just PG-13 violence, even though this movie is rated R. So that's why I didn't really like it. You know, it didn't contain any like gore or carnage. I mean, it was decent. I mean, I don't entirely hate this movie, but to be honest, I probably won't watch the movie again just because you know I didn't get into it. So the next one is I probably will get a lot of hate for this one as well, but it's gonna be Scream 4. Now, if you watch my ranking on the Scream movies on my channel, you would know that this is my least favorite one out of all of them. Before I get to the negatives, I just want to say like I don't entirely hate this movie. Like this is the movie that I will watch. You know, if I'm gonna binge watch all the Scream movies. I just can't stand the characters of these movies. Like I thought they were all really annoying and cringy. Even the killers. Um, Even Neve Campbell, who I really like, didn't give her best performance in this one for some reason. Like she's always a very good Scream Queen, but in this one she just like doesn't really like she didn't really like did much, honestly. And didn't express a lot of emotions like she did in like the previous movies. So yeah, Scream 4, yeah, just not my favorite. Sorry. Not sorry. Next one is The Conjuring. Now, before you leave any hate comments, I just want to say like I don't hate this movie at all. I thought this movie was actually decent. I'm just not really big on paranormal movies, especially if it's PG-13. The only paranormal movie I really enjoy is The Exorcist and Paranormal Activity to some extent. Aside from that, yeah, The Conjuring, Insidious movies, like PG-13 paranormal movies just doesn't do it for me. Mainly because it doesn't, deliver anything, just jump scares and loud noises, and yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to like, paranormal PG-13 movies. The Conjuring is actually probably the most decent one out of all of them, so I would give him credit for that. It just, like I said, it's just on my glass of water. But I mean, I will watch it again if I'm bored. If I'm really bored and there's nothing else to watch, I'll watch it. But aside from that, I'm just not too hyped up for it like everyone else is. So yeah. So the next one will be It Follows. Now, for the negative, this movie to me is just extremely overrated. I really don't see why people like this movie. I mean, there's some scary parts of this movie. I just don't like the plot. I think the plot is, in my opinion, is dumb. I'm sorry, but that's just my perspective on that. Yeah, I just didn't really thought it was scary. Didn't like the plot. Yeah, I just thought the movie was stupid. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Next is Get Out. Oh, this movie. Yeah, a lot of people really like this movie, and I'm just not a big fan of it. I thought the movie was extremely boring and wasn't scary. I got nothing else to say about this movie. On to the next one. Next is Sick. That came out, I think, either last year or the year before that. Yeah, I thought the movie was very generic. The movie, I felt like it's a ripoff to a Christmas movie called To All a Good Night. Just a different plot. I don't know. Honestly, just like with Scream 4, I didn't really like the characters. I didn't care too much about them. I mean, they could live or die for all I care. There's only one character that I like, and he ended up dying for no apparent reason, just because he was there. Yeah, the characters were very stuck up and awful. I didn't like them. I didn't care about them at all. And the kills weren't that great. They were just just a bunch of stabbing. Just standard slasher generic stuff. Didn't really care for this one. A lot of people seem to like it. I just didn't care too much about it. It is borderline decent for me. So the last one would be, I'm gonna get a ton of hate for this one, but it has to be Talk to Me. Now, this is a movie that I just did not like at all, and I'll tell you why. It's because I understand the plot that, you know, teenagers do stupid things, but that's pretty much the plot. It's just a bunch of dumb teenagers doing dumb things, which led to, like, you know, their consequences. And honestly, like, even when the 14-year-old kid decided to, you know, jump into their stupid game, and then he ended up getting possessed and ended up getting his face bashed on the table. Honestly, I thought that was more comedic than it was scary. I didn't even thought it was scary at all. I just thought it was kind of, you know, humorous unintentionally. And when you watch a movie, you actually want to be scared, not, you know, laugh, unless it's like a horror comedy, which, you know, this movie isn't. And scenes was very slow paced. It didn't really like hit me, you know, like as it did to other people. Like I said, I'm just not into like paranormal movies, and a lot of the ghosts in these movies just didn't scare me at all. They didn't look creepy. They just looked like, you know, regular human beings with contact lenses through their eyes. And yeah, I don't know. I just didn't care for this movie at all. Not a lot of people like this movie, and I respect that. You know, kudos for them. No, I'm honestly like, I respect people's opinion, but you know, I wish I was one of the people that really liked this movie, but I just didn't. You know, I just, like I said, it's not my glass of water, and that's probably what it is. So anyway, that's my list of all the horror movies that most people like that I don't like, and you all have a good night.